Okay, now I found that it's helpful to keep a couple extra hooks around in my rainbow looming kit, because you never know when a hook's going to wear out and break. So that can be helpful. All right, we've come up to this end. Come check it one more time. Everything's connected. Everything is as it should be in the center. Okay. We're going to start removing it, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to get this ink pen. I'm going to insert it here to the side and very gently lift it off. Slide it over here, put it down through the center, and lift it off. Now that's really tight. And there we go. Now this is where I'll make my transfer as soon as I get all these off the loom. Now I have found that it's helpful to use the tool to remove the bands, just as it's helpful to use the tool to put them on. Okay, once you get it started, you may be able to lift it like this. Use your fingers. Don't force the bands. You certainly don't want anything to break at this point. Okay, once you get up here, you've got a lot of bands to remove. Now it's important to get your hook and to gently remove them. Like that. With this pattern, it is helpful to go down the sides and release that tension, and then come back to the center to release the rest. You can grab that large group and work it gently off the peg. And always use the heavy part of your hook. Don't come down here on the narrow part and try to force the bands off. Watch for these single ones that get caught behind. Now we'll see what we've got here. Stretch him out. Yo ho ho, there we have our Jolly Roger. And we have our first part of the Skull and Crossbones bracelet. So we're going to come right back here to this end with the arrows pointing toward you. Now, all of these went on 2 opposite hooks. So this is your transfer. Get your pen right down into, stretch it, and lift it over that peg. Well, it helps if I get it on camera. Right like that. Slide your pen out. Come over here to the next one, the opposite one. Stretch. Put your pen right against that peg. Get them all over. Hold them down while you draw your pen out. And there you go. You're ready for your transfer. Now, I'm going to start down the very beginning and build your skull and crossbones bracelet, following the same design as what we did on this half, or you can follow the confetti crisscross. Waiting for my camera to focus here. Now I like to count backwards so that I continue the same pattern. So this, good. This cap band here goes on this peg. And these red ones will come over here. So, counting backwards, we're red, white, red, white, red, white, red, white, red, white, red, white. So we'll start here. All right, welcome back to Nonni's Crafty Kids. This is the continuing tutorial on making the Jolly Roger Skull and Crossbones bracelet. So, we've transferred the first half of the bracelet to the end of the rainbow loom, and we count back through the center every other peg so that we have alternating colors. Since it's red on this peg, we alternate down the row, and we figured out that it's going to be white on this one. So we're just going to leave that rubber band there so we can start laying out the outside grays. And we do start from the center over to the side on both sides. Now, if you've made plenty of confetti crisscross bracelets before, you may certainly fast forward. There's no need to watch this layout if you already know how to make this bracelet. But you're going to want to come back at the point where we join the confetti crisscross second half to the first half. Okay? Because that will be a little different. So we'll continue this layout. We're using single bands, not double bands, as we did on the skull itself. On the bracelet, we just use single bands. We come all the way up here. All right? Come back to the beginning and go up the right side. Almost made it. Need one more. And there. Now, what we need to do is have the next band right here. So we're going to come here and get these bands back in order so that here is the bottom gray band. I'm going to loop that right over that peg. So it's just as if we're continuing on to this bracelet. Come over here, do the same thing. In the process of transfer, these have gotten out of order. So we just move these around until we find the bottom gray band. Let's push them down so we have some room to work. Move that red up, and there's the bottom band. All right, now we'll be able to continue looping when we're ready to loop. Now we need to come in the center, and now's the time when we can pick up this white band. From the center, make a triangle over these two, right like that. Alternate with the red, all the way up. These will form the crisscrosses in the middle of the bracelet. And of course you can use any color here. I'm using the white to represent the crossbones of the skull and crossbones, and the red to separate each one so that they're more obvious. All right, now we can bring this over right onto that, like that. And so our bracelet will be continuous. Come back to the beginning and do the second side in the same way. And my dogs have decided to come in, and instead of whining at me, they're going to play fight with each other. So if you hear dogs snarling, no, they're not killing each other. They're just having a nice romp before bedtime. Aha, another detective. To the top, one more white, and now we can take these red and loop them right over that. And now we can see how that transfer is taking place. I'm joining up the first and second parts of the bracelet. Now, our last step in placing the bands is to put cap bands on all of these down the center. Again, I'm going to use this tool. I'm going to alternate gray and black bands, gray on the white, black on the red. And we make 4 loops. So this cap band will be very tight. Now we're to the final stage of our skull and crossbones bracelet for Jolly Roger. We've laid out all of the rubber bands for the second half of the bracelet. And now it's just a matter of looping these. And you've already seen me do that, the same method as we did here on the first half of the bracelet. So we're not going to go through all that again. I do want you, though, to have a good look at how we've joined the first half and the second half. All of these rubber bands were transferred from the beginning of the loom all the way back here. And so here's the gray loop, top and bottom, and the red bands have been moved, stretched over 2, and this cap band came with us. So that was the first half of the bracelet. And this is what you want it to look like when you connect it with the second half of the bracelet. All right? These bands were back here, so we moved them up there so you can see how they loop. And when we begin looping up the side, we'll go through here, catch this band, and it will catch all of these. But first, as we did on the first side, we need to go down through the center, through these cap bands, bring the crisscrosses back like that. The red ones right here were already done on the first half of the bracelet. So now we're doing the second half. And I'm going to stop the video here and jump forward to where we'll take the bracelet off the loom. Now we're back for the very last segment of our tutorial on making Jolly Roger Skull and Crossbones bracelet. So we've hooked all of the center crisscrosses, so they now look like this. They're all caught by their cap bands. I've gone all the way up the left side, and now I'm finishing going up the right side. You can tell on the side the rubber bands that haven't been looped yet. And this is a good thing to know, so you can always check your work and know how to spot any rubber bands that you miss or where you stopped and need to come back. So this is where we need to finish off. We're going to reach down inside those crisscross reds, grab that bottom rubber band, bring it up and over the forward pin. Next to the last one, up and over the forward pin. And here we are at the very end. It's been a long, strange journey. Now we have the final segment of the Skull and Crossbones bracelet, hooked and looped. And now we're ready to take it off. So we get, place your tool down through the middle of this peg, slide it out to the side, grab one rubber band, bring it up through, around to the front. And now you can put a C-clip on that, or you can just hold it on your hook while you remove all the rubber bands. These ought to come off a little more easily than the first part of the bracelet did. Holding our breath. all had those times where our band broke, or we find that we've missed a loop. So it's always just a little bit nervous when we're taking the bands off the rainbow loop and see what we end up with. I like to use my Rainbow Loom tool just to make sure I don't put too much stress on any of these rubber bands as I'm taking them off the loom. Some of these rubber bands act as though they love the loom so much they want to stay forever. Getting close. I'm sure you're glad to know that my dog is outside protecting me from any strangers, bad guys, zombies, anything that might be attacking. Because, of course, they've all been attracted by my skull and crossbones. And here it comes. We're going to see what we have. There's our bracelet. There's our Jolly Roger. Let's see. This is the way he goes. Here are his eyes. Push that nose to the center. Right, now I'm going to get a C-clip. He will be all done. Now, often I will bypass this loop and go back to these. Grab those, remove that final one. Be sure I've got all four. It's just a little bit easier to put it back on here. And then I'm going to grab this band on the chin bone of the skull. Keep all those on the C-clip. And there we are. As he relaxes, his face will shape up and he'll clearly be a skull and crossbones Jolly Roger. Yo ho ho! Pass the rum, me mateys. If you enjoyed making this skull and crossbones bracelet with me, be sure to like my channel and come back, and we'll be doing lots of other projects with Nonni's Crafty Kids.